Hello, I'm Dr. Brandt Gibson. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so happy that we actually get to talk about this subject. I am asked about this on a regular basis. People are asking, how do you know if a shoe fits? How do you make sure you get a good shoe? And third, what do you look for when you know if a shoe is worn out? So let me take a step back first and kind of give you a little bit of information. If you remember, when you think about your foot, there are different levels, different areas that you can have a longer toe. Some individuals will have the big toe being their longest. Some people will the second toe be the longest. Really what it's coming down to, that's important. When it comes to shoe fitting, you want to fit to your longest toe. You want to say, okay, I want the shoe to fit. I want it to be the longest toe where it's not rubbing on the end of the shoe, that I have a little bit of space in there so it's not rubbing. Especially if you're going to do exercises and so forth, you want a lot of times to be a half size bigger if you are going to be exercising, running, those kind of things, so that you're not having problems with hitting the nails on the end of the shoe or causing some of those kind of damages and so forth. The same thing though, if it's too big and your foot's moving around, you can also get more blisters and problems and injuries to toenails and injuries to toes if the shoe is too big as well. So there are three features anytime that you're fitting a shoe. So number one, you want it to be firm in the heel counter. So it should be firm. You shouldn't be able to crush it. So you can see up here, I can actually crush it. That's normal. But if at the bottom you can do the same thing, it's not a great shoe. It's not going to support your foot. It's not going to keep you in the shoe itself. Number two, with mild pressure, it should bend at the toes. It should bend where your foot does. It shouldn't bend in the middle, and it shouldn't be so firm that you can't bend it when you push really, really hard. It should bend right at the toes. And that's an easy way to say, okay, this is a good shoe, no matter what the price. And the third is it should be relatively rigid. You shouldn't be able to wring it out like a rag. If you could grab it and say, okay, I can wring this all the way out, and it can actually completely flatten out, that's not a good shoe either. And that will cause you some issues and some problems. So those three features are very, very important to determine if it's a good quality shoe and to make sure that you aren't going to cause injuries or problems in those shoes. The other part that we were talking about is wear. There's different areas you can wear. Most people are going to look at the top of the shoe or the bottom of the shoe to determine how much wear and tear there is going on the shoe. The piece that you forget about is the insole, or the midsole, not the insole. The insole, in most cases, the insoles are not very good. They're kind of pretty thin and not important. But there's a midsole. There's a part that you can't see that actually wears out over time just from utilizing the shoe, or truthfully, even just by having the shoe. If you leave a shoe in the closet for a year, a running shoe, for example, you start to get more rigid in that midsole area, and it's not as good a shoe. You start to lose some of the benefit. If you go 300, 400 miles in a shoe, it's worn out. It should be replaced because you've lost the cushion of the air pockets or whatever you have, depending on the shoe, in the midsole area that makes it so it's not as good and not as supportive, doesn't absorb as much of the it doesn't absorb as much of the impact when you're walking or running or those kind of things. So wear of a shoe, of course, you're going to look at the top of the shoe and say, okay, is there any areas that are really, really worn out? You're going to look at the bottom of the shoe, and part of this is to determine where the wear is. If you're saying, okay, I'm really, really wearing the outside of my shoe, that could be a problem, and you want to look at it, and it may be a good reason to get an orthotic or insert to change the way you walk. If you're really wearing the inside of your shoe, same type of thing. The ideal wear pattern would be starting at the heel on the outside and going to the big toe on the inside. That's the way you should be wearing through the shoe, or you should have more diffuse type wear pattern to ensure that it's not being worn out incorrectly. Shoe wear, this is important. Outer sole, the midsole, and the upper or the top of the shoe. All of those pieces should be looked at when you're looking at wear and tear of a shoe. It's okay to replace them early. It's okay to get shoes sooner, because the whole point, the whole reason that we're wearing shoes is for the support and the help that they actually can provide to your feet. Dr. Brandt Gibson, and this is your Podiatry Tips Day 374, shoe fitting and shoe wear. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you'd like additional information, you're saying, okay, I need some help. I'm not sure, am I doing this right? We'd love to see you. You can actually reach out to us at utahfootdoc.com, and we will do what we can to help you get into the correct shoe and help you figure out how to best replace your shoes if they need to be replaced. This is Dr. Brandt Gibson. Have a great rest of your day.